Hello and good afternoon. I am Rob, also known as thatDeveloperDad, and it is Wednesday, January 8th, and yeah, we're building stuff with C# and .NET in general. Um, I need to stand up a small component or a small set of components to implement a use case that will start a checkout process at Lemon Squeezy that a user and this process is going to run when a user clicks a button that I will eventually add to the application that says upgrade my account. So Lemon Squeezy expects a bunch of information from me. So let's take a look at their API documentation. And they've got an article right here about creating a checkout. The address is that. We're going to need to capture that. And what we'll do is we'll come out to the Lemon Squeezy API provider and say string endpoint fragment equals /v1 / checkouts. And I think for sanity's sake, down here in my Lemon Squeezy provider, I'm going to create a new file, class API constants. We're going to make it internal, static. Nah, we're not going to do static. And public const string endpoint fragment underscore start checkout equals v1 /v1 / checkouts. Save that. Come back to my API provider. API constants dot start checkout. There we go. And there's that. We've got our URL. And I don't think I'm going to keep that code, but that's fine. First thing we want to do is validate the request. So private IEnumerable of service error validate request. And let's do operation request. Of T request of T. Stop that. Where T is subclass. list of service errors equals new. Return errors. And let's see if we can actually invoke this. So check out response equal result equals new. We have to pass the request. And the initial payload. And it seems that we can do that. Now, private enumerable service error, validate request data. And I really don't want to use a switch case in here, but I think I have to. What's this complaining about? Oh, it ate my bracket for close. We'll want that. Return errors. And switch type of T. Type of, and it will be in the abstractions. Checkout data. Need to add a reference here. Var error equals new service error. Pop that down on its own line, and let's start doing okay. That's how I do it. Error kind equals service error kind dot request payload validation message equals unknown payload type unsupported. The provided payload type is not supported. severity, we got to add a comma. Service error severity. It's the error severity. And finally, site. I'm not going to set the site on this stuff. Add error. Get rid of the extraneous thing. And that's fine. I'll do the logging out in the main method. Type of checkout data. We will private enumerable service error validate checkout data. Checkout data. Come on, Copilot. It's not quite what I want to do, but whatever. Get one of those. I really wish it would be a little less eager. That needs to be nullable. If data equals null, we'll do that. Checkout data is missing. Error severity error. Errors.add. Return errors. We're just going to GTFO right away in that case. C-Films, how you doing, man? Are you feeling any better yet? Now, we're not quite sure what else needs to go into the validate checkout data yet. So we're going to stick a to-do in here. Add more variable checking. Need to make sure that the inbound data is complete and as correct as we can manage here. Request. Above 50% is good. Result dot errors. Add errors. Errors. Actually, what I'm going to do is add those here. Stop it. Because on that operation response object, or on the operation response class that we have, if result dot should halt process is true, that's when we GTFO. Otherwise, we can continue with the operation. Now, let's go take a look at this checkout request object. This class represents the properties we have to include in a create checkout request to lemon squeezy. Since that API expects specific spelling and case, letter casing will deviate from our usual C# naming conventions. Don't panic. So, the way it's structured in this documentation, and they don't have a .NET SDK, dirty rats. Oh, stop it. I'll hit the copy button over here. Template from API talks. I'm just going to zip up here and do a block comment on that bad boy. So the way this works is we've got this outer data thing. And then there's attributes. Relationships, and we have to add a store relationship and a variant relationship, as well as some additional stuff. So, internal class ls checkout rec. Very good. So we're going to need, in addition to that, we're going to need a new ls rec body. Class v. There we go. We'll make it internal. Of t. New file. We'll make an interface I ls rec data. We'll make it internal. And this is just a marker interface. A generic constraint. So checkout rec implements I ls rec data. Save that. Where T is ILS rec data. Now let's spin down here. And it looks like data has a type of checkouts. string.empty, prop t data, default of t, we'll just do that. Okay, so that's data. Type attributes. And that's actually, come on. This is called attributes. Public. Excuse me. Let's see. Relationship node array. And I'm going to say ls relationship node. Okay. And I need to define ls relationship node. I'm abstracting this API definition straight out of my head. New file, class, ls relationship node. Internal. Prop string label. It's not quite how we need that to work. But we'll get there. Internal class ls node data. Type NID. And I want to go lowercase t, lowercase I. All right, label. That's that. We're going to have to get into some custom JSON serialization nonsense in here. I'm not looking forward to that. And string. Request type T. Request data. Relationship nodes. And public string to JSON. String JSON equals JSON serializer dot serialize this. Return JSON. Need to grind on this bit to get it right. All right. Excuse me. Relationships, blah, 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 blah. And let's go to Family Matters. Oh my gosh, the show with Urkel and Carl the police officer and stuff like that. All right, so attributes. Gosh, that's a blast from the past. 80s and 90s stuff. Woof. All right, so let's see here. Attributes, expires at, store, season 5. All right, so the only things I really need to submit here for a very basic LS checkout request are checkout data. Where are we? And then custom, and then user ID. Internal class. LS checkout custom data. Let's come back over here. Attributes, custom price, product options, checkout data. Any custom data to be passed to the checkout. And let's call it user intra ID. No, user correlation ID. Identity ID. That's what I'll use. Gosh, I haven't even thought about that show since like the 90s. So the checkout rec, ILS rec data. What all do I need to add? I really have the pre-filled email address to provide at this point in time. Let's see. Product description, yeah. Enabled variants. Not really worried about the custom price. All I really need is ls checkout custom data, and it's checkout underscore data. Preview equals true. Don't really care about variant quantities. Checkout will include a preview object with checkout preview data. Test mode. Public bool test mode. Get set. And expires at public string expires at and datetime dot now dot add hours. Let's say 24 dot toString. And let's see what this formatting looks like. That looks correct. It says it wants an ISO 8601. Let's pop that open in a new tab. All right. Yeah, looks like I'm doing it right. We're going to FAFO, that's for sure. You know what? I'm going to go UTC now. Checkout data, very good. And now let's add a constructor. We need test mode. And bool is test mode string customer entra ID. Put that back in here. Get rid of Copilot successes. Test mode equals is test mode. String. Well, what's complaining? All right, so there's the checkout rec. Pardon me. And that looks about right. Now we got to set these up on the request body. And I feel like a builder pattern is going to come in super duper handy in here. Like really, really, really handy. Let's squeeze the API provider.cs. We can close that down. Yeah. New file. Class. ls request builder. Private type request data type. Hey Mars, what's up, man? Private object request data. I get it. Private ls relationship node array, relationship nodes. And we're actually going to use a list of these. All right, now, blah, 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 blah. Relationships equals new list of relationship nodes. Good. Public ls request builder for checkout. And we are going to use checkout data. Now, the only information that we really have that we require in that checkout data is whether we're in test mode and the customer's Entra ID. I'm going to say as new checkout. I'm going to say bool is test. And we're also going to take in a string for customer Entra ID. And it's ls checkout rec is the data type. New ls checkout rec. And there we go. Public ls request builder for store int store ID ls relationship node store node equals, and it's store data equals new ls node data type stores, and the ID is store ID.toString. Beautiful. We'll add that to the nodes and return this. All right. Public ls request builder. No. Int product variant ID. And we'll just call that the variant node equals new. And the label is just the word variant. Data type variants. Product variant ID.toString. Just like it's showing here in the schema sample. Ah, you building projects for yourself, Mars? Or projects for other people? Or is it like a multiple client type thing where you're trying to figure out who to keep happy first? Add variant node excuse me. Let's add some commentary on this. Adds the data required to identify this checkout as test or live. Adds the supplied customer ID to include in all future event data for this customer. Sets up the variant that of the product that the customer is purchasing. Good enough. For store, so let's see here. This creates our new LS checkout request. It does that. And private string, request type. As new checkout, request type equals checkouts. Cool. And then public ls rec body of t build less data. Oh, because this is a public class. It should be internal. You happy now? Okay. Not sure I love this, but it'll be fine. This will do for now, I'm sure. All right. And let's take a look at the Lemon Squeezy API provider. So we validated the inbound request. We're adding the errors. Let's go to checkout data up here and add some stuff. Prop, string, customer entra ID, prop, string, product to purchase. I believe that's going to be an int. I think that's really all I need. Who is it? What are they buying? And that's all she wrote. So you come over here and var request builder equals new ls request builder. Dot for store options store ID got to take a look at my options here. Rename that symbol, get rid of the big D, make it a little d. And that store ID is actually an int. Come on, Rob. I don't need the semicolon. Close that. Lemon Squeezy API provider, store ID. Good. Dot as new checkout. Bump that in by one and customer enter ID gets that. And if any of that's null by now, customer Gemini AI, I have not played with Gemini itself. The only parts of Google's AI stuff that I've used directly are like the top of the Google search page. And so far, I'm not in love with it. Checkout data, I need to include, oh, wait. Is that in the options? Yes. Might be a website that was previously active but no longer is. Oh, I can't see the URL you're sending, C-Films. Is test and ls request body of ls checkout request and I believe it's just build. Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I can't see the URL you're asking me about. See films. Unfortunately, Twitch edits out URLs from mentions. All right, this I think for now. Oh no, you know what, man? LLMs are based on almost exclusively, excuse me, on training data, and if they didn't include the their search registry or anything like that, their website registry in that training data, it probably doesn't know anything about it. I don't know if Gemini Chat uses any kind of retrieval augmented generation in its results. I don't know if Google's chat or if Google's AI actually includes running a Google search for the entities named in the queries and stuff like that. Um, it's an interesting scenario. All right, I think I've got enough stuff in here to get to the point where I can I don't necessarily want to post, but I at least want to analyze what's happening with the serialization. So what I'm going to do, I've been at this for an hour now, and one of the kids needs, the kid needs my webcam for a video conference he's got coming up soon. So I need to share that with him. Oh, oh. I'm going to get through the serialization nonsense because it's not fun to watch somebody write serialization code. But I will not do the post stuff and or maybe I will. We'll see. I do want to get through serialization today, and I'm going to do that offline. But I do need to bounce, and we'll pick this back up tomorrow. And this is the second time I've used this builder pattern, like over in the LS request builder. The first time I created one of these guys was for the unit tests for the managed subscription method on my account manager class. And I really, really, really like this pattern for creating complex objects, because the next time I have a different kind of request to build, I can just add another one of these guys, and it'll take care of setting all the gory details for all of these other bits for me, and then eventually emit the correct, strongly typed request body that I need. But I do have some concerns about how all this stuff's going to serialize. I want to make sure it's happening correctly and with the correct output. And that's really boring to watch somebody struggle through, because it is going to be a struggle bus. So I'm going to grind on that offline. And when we come back tomorrow morning, we'll be able to continue with the actual API provider code. There's some things happening in here that I already don't care for, but because we're only implementing one API call, I might not pull that stuff out into a helper method yet. I might just leave this alone for the time being. So yeah, we've made some good progress, and we're going to continue making that progress tomorrow. And I'm going to take care of that serialization stuff for the rest of the afternoon. So until then, take care of yourselves. See you next time. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. And Happy coding. Later, gang.